Alright guys, welcome back to WolfPack Cryptos and MMGinvest. So in this video I just want to talk about Apple because Apple is making a huge decision here, and they're changing their market. They're changing their entire business strategy, and Apple is important. Apple has the largest share, one of the largest shares in the S&P 500. So wherever Apple goes, its stock price, it's going to lead the rest of the index. So the S&P 500 and the stock market. And in my last video, I talked about the yield curve, I talk about the Fed, I talk about all the other important things. But I just want to talk about Apple right now, because what they're doing is, in my opinion, it's going to make them or absolutely break them. So let's just take a look at the Apple price real quick. It's today it's dumping, and it's March 25th. Now, the entire stock market is selling off a bit, so that's nothing surprising. And but it was overextended anyways on the daily chart, and it was due for a correction along with most equities. So you could say that this isn't reflecting what people and investors and traders are really thinking about all of the news that broke. So let's just go to a quick video here.
The web. If you were to subscribe to all of these individually, it would cost you over $8,000 per year. But with Apple News Plus, you pay $9.99 per month. And that's not just for you. We thought this was so...
Alright, so that's just one of them. So they're going into multiple new fields and media, right? So they just announced... Apple announces Apple TV Plus video subscription service. They also announced news services for $10 a month, and a Netflix-style news service and TV streaming, and its own credit card, Apple Card, kind of like Visa. And Apple announces arcade gaming subscription service. Am I missing anything? So this is a big deal. Now here's the problem. Here's why this is going to be a make it or break it. Well, they're going into competition with Google and Facebook and YouTube and Netflix and Disney and Spectrum. Like, the competition in this services industry for media is extremely high. Extremely high. You see YouTube now in competition with Netflix, and Amazon is also having their own streaming service. And then you have Spectrum, HBO, and it's very high and competitive right now. And now Apple wants to join that field, right? That market. Also, the gaming streaming services, it's the same thing. It's extremely competitive. The news, okay, so mainstream media, it is falling apart because individuals and other independent news is in direct competition with the mainstream media news agencies, because honestly they've been everyone woken up to the fact that it's all lies, and they're not even telling you the truth. I mean, they're bought and paid for by corporations and, you know, government. So people are not looking for more mainstream news. And they promise that they're not going to sell your data when you're looking at all these news articles and whatnot. And, you know, Google and a lot of the others, they do that. They collect your data when you're looking at different news articles and whatnot. And then they sell it to the highest bidder, right? And then they also sell it to advertisement as well. And that's why whenever you're looking up news articles, advertisements popping up for things that you've been searching on the internet or even talking about around your phone, because Facebook Messenger picks that up. Seriously, it literally picks up what you're saying. Your phone, the Messenger app, it records what you're saying. So, and then there's the Apple TV, right? Which is kind of in direct competition with YouTube, with Amazon streaming, Netflix, and okay, so you have to wonder, why are they doing all this? In my opinion, it's because, for one, they're sort of failing on the hardware aspect of things. If you remember, Apple makes phones and PCs. They make hardware, and they do have the largest share in that right now, but it's actually falling now, and Samsung is moving up. Samsung just came out with 5G foldable phones, and the innovation and technology is better than Apple's right now. And then we have the Android operating system, right, which is Google, and Google also owns YouTube. And Apple, there's a lot of talk and analysis out there by investors that Apple is not innovating, and they're not. All their phones are the same thing as like the last 6, and they might innovate a few things here and there, but you know. Now Apple does have a monopoly with their App Store, but so does Android and Google. And what they're trying to do, here's my theory. Okay, this is theory, not investment advice. What they're trying to do is they're trying to create like this whole internet ecosystem where you're kind of trapped in this Apple world where everything is Apple, where they're streaming. And you know, Walt Disney is also, and Comcast is going to be in direct competition with Apple now. So it's getting crazy here. So, but what Apple's trying to do is their current customer base, they want them locked in and sort of entrapped into this Apple world where they get their news from Apple, they get their TV shows from Apple, they get their data packaging data from Apple. Eventually they're going to move to internet from Apple. What else? Their phones, their TVs, their laptops, and what else am I missing? Oh, their video game streaming now. Everything's going to be Apple. And it's crucial that they get the news, because they want you to so you don't see anything, let's say, truth-oriented that's anti-Apple, because Apple is very questionable. They also collect your data and whatnot and sell it. And of course, Facebook, right? So this is fascinating. So what I'm trying to say is they also, okay, so I just named a bunch of things, right? I forgot one thing. That's why I'm like getting a brain fart here. Now they're going into the payment processing and finance. So now they want you not to use Apple credit cards on top of all of this. So basically, you could end up living in the Apple bubble, where you pay with an Apple credit card, you have an Apple phone, Apple PC, Apple News, Apple everything. You're even going to use an Apple credit card. And then for gaming, you stream through Apple. Now the thing with the Apple Finance card, I think another reason why they're doing that is because they see cryptocurrencies as a threat in the future. So they want to get you on their payment platform. They don't want you leaving and using cryptos and whatnot, which is more than likely going to be the future. Now, are they using blockchain with this crypto credit card? Probably. They're probably using it in the back office. So their sales pitch is 2% when you use Apple Pay. You get back 2% per product you buy from Apple with this credit card, but then you could use it for other things as well. So now they're going into banking and financing because they're going to give you credit. They're going to give you loans. Now, from a macroeconomic standpoint, why I see there's an issue with this is that basically the credit cycle is nearing the end, meaning that people are tapped out on their credit. And there's studies and Fed charts and stats and research. I don't want to pull all that up right now, but the average American consumer is completely tapped out on credit and debt. So are they going to be able to pay off their Apple Card if they get it now? I don't know. See, that's the problem. Especially with the Federal Reserve and the business cycle, which is raising interest rates and lowering them. Because when the Fed raises interest rates or lowers them, it affects credit cards and everyone's debt and loans for, mortgages, homes, and credit cards. Okay, so the question is this the right time or the worst time? I think for a credit card, it's the worst time. For media and all this streaming and whatnot, I think it's not right for Apple because the competition's so great right now. And I don't think they're going to be able to pull people away from Amazon, pull people away from Google and YouTube and Netflix. I think it's just too late to try to compete against them. At the same time, their hardware is kind of floundering, meaning they're not innovating enough on their phones, their PCs, and all of, everything they've built this multi-trillion-dollar company on. Well, it just recently hit $1 trillion. So, not multi, it's just $1 trillion. So what else do I have here that I was looking at? Oh, Apple dominates global smartwatch sales. That is true. So they did pretty good with their Apple smartwatches. Now, personally, this is just my thoughts and opinions. I like to think forward, and I've done some research on like technology and what it does to your body on a cellular level, like the frequencies that come out from smartphones and smartwatches as well. It's not good for your body. It's not good for cellular development, and it messes with your DNA and might cause like tumors or cancer. So maybe down the line, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, there'll be like mass class action lawsuits for these Apple Watches because they're gonna give people tumors in their wrists. I mean, listen, that's my own opinion. You could go research it yourself. I'm not saying it's definitely gonna do that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. I've researched it. Go research it yourself. Obviously, there's all sorts of opinions and different research articles. Look it up if you're interested, or if you have one of those watches. I don't trust it. I don't want something with frequencies coming out like electronic Wi-Fi so close to my wrist. There's been studies done recently with cell phones. You keep them in your front pocket. It's frying men's nuts. And women, the reproductive system, it's not good for it. Also, there was a study, people holding the phone next to their heads and talking all the time might cause, just look into it, all right? So, what else? Apple iPhone problems go beyond China. It's falling short on innovation. Now, here's the thing. Apple did move its headquarters to China, and Apple gave away all of its trademarks and patents to China so they could go into the Chinese market. That's a deal you make with China. If you're going to go sell things in China, you have to give them all of your patents and your trademarks and your innovative technology. And then what does Chinese companies do, which are sort of backed by Chinese government, which is also these companies in China. The Chinese government started printing money, and then they created these Chinese private companies, but really they work with the government. It's weird. It works really well for the short and midterm, but in the end it's all going to implode in China, my own opinion. But as these companies grew, what happened was the U.S., Western, and European companies try to break into the Chinese market because there's so many people there and the economy's been booming for the past 2 decades and the middle class is just exploding there, right? But the deal is, if you go there, you give them all of your technology. And then what happens is that technology goes to these Chinese private companies who knock off Apple phones, who knock off BMWs and all these cars from the West and every other technology. And then Apple can't sell there. And then, you know, BMW, GM, all these companies, their sales go up for the short term, but the long term they drop because they can't compete with the Chinese companies because obviously they're going to make everything so much cheaper, but they stole their technology. So the quality is almost the same, but good enough where the middle class of China will just buy Chinese company built phones and vehicles and technology and blah, blah, blah. And not just that, the Chinese people, they self-promote, and they're more likely to buy Chinese goods in the long run. It's a managed economy. In China, if you ever read The Art of War, I forgot, by Tsung Wu, you know what, don't quote me on that. But that's how the Chinese think, all right? It's a macroeconomic warfare, and I don't want to get into it. All right, so Apple warned iPhones have an innovation problem. Like I said, do the research. If you own Apple phones, I mean, how much have they really changed in the past few years? Not just that, I just heard on MSM, I'm not exactly sure of this, but they're not going to have 5G for 2 more years. Personally, I'm okay with that. I don't even want 5G. 4G is good enough for me. 5G, if you think 4G is going to possibly cause health issues down the road, long term, this is long term, 5G is definitely going to do it. So, I don't think it's natural and healthy long term to constantly have like these strong Wi-Fi frequencies just flying through your body. I mean, the military they've had them for decades now. You place these dishes on top of Humvees or vehicles, and they're for crowd control. They use the same frequencies that 5G does to control crowds. It's like a microwave gun. It's literally a microwave gun. It's like taking the door off your microwave at home, and like you can aim it and like shoot it at people. I'm dead serious. Look it up. If you think I'm crazy, look it up. All right, so yeah, I mean, these are my thoughts with Apple coming out and trying to become like the next Google and Samsung at the same time. I think it's a little too late, and the competition is just too great. So Google and Facebook control already 57.6% of the digital ad market. And Apple's going to try to take a slice out of that with all of this, with their news service and their streaming and their TV. We'll see. We'll see. I do see Facebook falling, and I do see Google with their censorship, on I don't even want to say it, but because I get censored, right? They're losing some they're losing some market here especially Facebook. So I think Apple sees a possible opportunity to take some of that. Will they be successful? I don't know. They're not just competing against one another. They're competing with smaller entities, smaller companies. We see blockchain, no censorship media platforms popping up. And you're going to see ad revenue go there. And you're going to see other media streaming companies popping up. They're popping up. They've been popping up for the past 2 years. So here's the deal, guys. I think the timing on this for Apple is actually very bad because the markets are sort of at their all-time highs. Now, can the entire stock market go even higher? Yes, it can. But at that point, it's going to be high inflation. And at that point, people are going to be cutting off all of these monthly subscription services because it adds up, $10, $20, $40, $50 to stream for movies and whatnot. It adds up to hundreds of dollars a year. So I think these monopoly corporations, they want to capture people into their bubbles. They're like media empire now, finance, social media, streaming, internet. Basically, they're creating like their own like internet ecosystem where people can get trapped in the Google or Apple now. And then there's the people on the fringe, like us, right? Who want to get away from this. We don't want to be captured like this. We want freedom, and we don't want, the censorship, and we want variety, right? And there's on the fringes, on the outside of these monopoly corporations and the ecosystems they're building on the internet, there's independent and small businesses right now that are just starting to build, which are based more on like freedom oriented, and they won't collect your privacy and your data. For example, we have DuckDuckGo search engines, we have Brave browser, we have other media platforms for streaming and TV, and you see what I'm saying? So the monopoly companies are now starting to eat each other to compete for the masses, for the sheep people who don't care and who are like stuck in this system that they've built. And then there's everyone else who's kind of like, they're more awake and they're more in tune to the reality in the world they're living in, and their data being collected and their privacy. They're concerned about that. Those people are coming out of these ghettos, I guess, and they're coming to these smaller companies that are right now growing. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. And it's pretty much it. If you guys found this informative, interesting, I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think. I'm not saying that I'm absolutely 100% correct. I'm just thinking out loud, and I'm telling you guys what I think here. And let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. I'll post a lot of these links in the comment section below this video. Please smash that like. It means a lot to me. And share my channel. That means even more to me. And then check out all the links below this video for services that we provide. Until next time.